I bet you didn't know that most people don't actually fail to achieve their goals because they quit, but instead they fail because the way they set them up just guarantees that they'll burn out before progress ever has a chance. Welcome to episode 36 of Everything Entrepreneurship with Jerome Carter. This is the place, the home, the podcast for ambitious professionals just like you who are chasing and building their dreams in between meetings, after work, and before the sun rises. I have a very efficient episode today. This is going to be the last video you're going to need to achieve your goals, not chase them, not want them, not speak them into existence, but to achieve them. I'm going to break down the 4 things you need to worry about. So with that being said, let's get right into it. I'm going to lay this out the best way that I know, the way I was taught years ago, and the way that I help ambitious professionals just like you every single day. Basically, and again, I'll break it down point by point, you need to know what you want, by when, and why. So let's start off with point number 1. What do you want? When I say what do you want, this gets very uncomfortable, not just like on a Zoom setting, but I'm talking in person to person. Because 9 times out of 10, the gut reaction that somebody's going to say what they want is going to be something that's comfortable, something that gets the job done. And I'm like, no, if you're working 40, 50, sometimes 60 hours for somebody else, what's worth you sacrificing your time, your availability, like your energy for? Like if somebody says, I want to make, people always say, I want to make $10,000 a month. Why did you come up with that number? Why 10,000? Why not 15,000? Why not 20,000? Why not $12,642.18? Why is that your number? Why is that your goal? What is the number that's going to be? And let's take it away from a financial aspect, because sometimes people just want something else, right? Professionally, they could say, you know what? I know I need to make this side income, but right now, this is my goal. I want to be, let's say they're in HR. I want to be SHRM certified. That's a beautiful goal. That is what it is that you want, right? So if we bring it back to money, because that's what most people worry about, not necessarily saying you, but that's just 9 times out of 10 people end up having a goal in or around money, right? So when I challenge them and it gets uncomfortable, I love when people grow into that, because they understand, you know what, I was playing around. I just wasn't taking this seriously. Let me actually take a moment to think what I want. What am I going through all this for? Right? So that's number 1. What do you want? Name it and be very specific with it. Don't make it just broad, make it very specific. Number 2, or part 2, by when. This part actually gets, I don't want to say arguments, but there's some disagreement in this thought. It's a general rule of thumb. I typically say within like 12 months, because if not, most people, if somebody says, you know what, I want to make that $10,000 a month, they'll say, okay, I want to make this $10,000 a month by like in 3 years or something like that. And I'm like, no, you can make that much easier, much faster than that. Don't put time and attention into how you're going to make this. When you make your goal, you figure out what the goal is. What is the end all be all? Not I'm over here going through craziness. I'm going through real life and I'm okay with what's comfortable. No, what is the goal? What do you want and by when? And then you have some people that are just silly. They're like, I want to be a billionaire by tomorrow. Say, okay, take this seriously. This is your life. And you have to actually think, okay, when do I want this by? So does it have to be within 12 months? No, not necessarily, but I want a specific date. If you say, hey, I want to make $10,000 a month, by when? You could say by this time next year. When is that? You would say by December 13th, 2026, the date of this recording, right? New year, new me. It's not about new year, new me. It's about, I want this goal in 10 months. I want this goal in 6 months. I want this goal by my birthday, by my mom's birthday. I want this goal on this specific day. So if we have, what do you want and by when? The battery in somebody's back is not motivation, but it's your why. Why do you want that? And again, most people, it's not the fact that it's a bad part of a conversation, but most people really have to take into consideration, do I want what I want because I want it? Or do I want what I want? Or in this instance, do I think I want what I want because the person I'm looking at says that that's what they want and quote unquote technically have? It's not always the case. There's a lot of people lying out here. So you have to figure out your why. Your why might be because you're a single parent. Your why might be because you're in a bad environment. Your why might be because nobody ever quote unquote believed in you. You have to figure out what's your why. Why are you doing this? When motivation is gone on the hard days, dark days, when you had an argument with somebody and life starts lifing, it's not going to be motivation. It's not going to be a quote that gets you through. but your why will. So if we know this is what I want, and I want this by this date, and this is why I'm doing it, then you have a very beautiful goal, right? So let's give an example. The HR person. I want to be SHRM certified by December 13th, 2026, because my son and my daughter look up to me, and I want to ascend in my career in HR. Beautiful goal. Okay, monetary. I want to be making $10,000 a month by, let's just say my birthday, March 7th, 2026. Why? Because that's something that I've always wanted to do. In this example, obviously, right? What do you want, by when, and why? And then here's the part that messes people up all the time. Once you have that goal set, it's not about set it and forget it. You put it up there. Put your goal up there in the stratosphere. So if you look up, you can always see it. When you lay down at night and you open your eyes, it's there. You don't focus on the goal every single day. To achieve your goal, the difference between what people put online and what actually works, you have to focus on the inputs. What do I need to do every day? What are the sum? That's the sum of all my inputs. What are the inputs I need to do? If A plus B equals C and C is my goal, what is A and B? A might be what I need to do, and B might be when and how frequent I need to do it. By thinking like this, you're able to really understand, okay, you know what? This is how I can chase a goal. I can have clarity, I can have structure, and I can make a strategy around it. What do you want, by when, and why? Don't focus on the goal every single day, but focus on what you can do, what you can contribute, and the inputs you can do to get there. With that being said, that's a very efficient episode. This is Jerome Carter. Make sure you subscribe. See you in the next one.